Here we go, Los Angeles. There's my proof of where I have been. Los Angeles, yeah. The newsstand, this is a newsstand down here. What are you doing? This is really cool. I like this stuff. We got Bank of America here in Chinatown. Faux filet mignon. Best food I've ever had. Well, it was good. Best food I had in about 4 months. About 4 months. That I'd cover it. This video is when I was in Los Angeles, California. This is just after being arrested in Yukon, Oklahoma. So I was arrested in April of 2022 by the Ardmore PD because they're trying to cover up their crimes. I was trying to get out of this state and out of Texas so I could tell other states what you guys did to me. Nobody let me leave Oklahoma City, so they arrested me in Yukon, stuck me back in mental health, stuck me at my mother's house, and lied to me again. So I got a train. I got on a train, and I went to Los Angeles, California to tell everybody what you had done. This journey starts in Los Angeles, California, July 20, 2022. I got to Union Station. It's right here by Chinatown. I was at Union Station. I got out. The first thing I did was hand a flyer I left some flyer in the Union Station about what you guys had done to me, and then I went and bought a turkey sandwich, a croissant turkey sandwich, and I had a Coke for like $10 at the little store right in China, right as you get into Chinatown. And I gave I think one or two of the flyers out to the two people inside that store. One was a Hispanic lady, one was an African American, and that's how I knew I had Los Angeles attention, because I left 3 flyers as soon as I got there. After eating my sandwich, it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. I took off on a little venture to find out, where I was going to live in Los Angeles as a homeless man. But right before I took off, I told a man right there in Chinatown, right where I was asleep, I said, I just became homeless today. I'm going to be sleeping right here on this street, right by all you guys. I'm your new neighbor. And I took off walking. And I ended up going this distance all the way out here. This is East LA area. You look, that's 2 miles. I walked 2 miles from that point to here. And then I continued walking. So I washed my clothes out here is what I did. I washed my clothes. I got some water at a Walgreens or a CVS. And then I gone over here to McDonald's, and I used the restroom. And to use the restroom, you have to buy something. I think I bought a soda, Coca-Cola. I think I bought Coca-Cola and maybe a chicken sandwich. And now remember, it's 2 miles. It's walk. This is drive to. I walked all the way to here. Then I continued, and I walked from the same area way up here all the way down to Vernon City Hall. That's 3.6 miles. So I walked that distance. Continued walking. I went to a grocery store down here somewhere, and I bought some soda and some more water because it's hot out there. Walking all the time. And then I continued walking, and it's another 3.1 miles over here. And I saw a cop arresting a guy on the side of the road. I kept walking, but I got down here to Ferguson Street. I went past it, and I went over here somewhere for some reason. But I saw a nun down here, and the nun knew exactly who it was. As soon as I walked by, she started praying to God. But she had a statue of Mother Mary on the top of her on her house, and she turned around and started praying. She started praying right there, right as I passed by her. So the nun knew who I was. And that was somewhere on Soto. So I continued walking, and now I go down here from the Burger King, and I go down Ferguson Street, bad area. And I get down here to Athens Park, And I did walk down the highway too. I walked down the highway on this part, and a highway patrol came up and said, "Don't you walk on that highway anymore," because it's flying by me about 80 miles an hour, and I'm just, I'm toting, my little ice chest beside me, walking down the highway. But I had to get back up, well, on the up in this area, in the city area where everybody lived, and somebody almost ran me over right here. They stopped about 2 feet in front of me, skidded to a stop, almost killed me right there in Los Angeles. So that's kind of what you guys home for. But anyway, I had to hide in Athens Park for about 30 or 40 minutes because people were following me everywhere I went. And you can't trust people. People really tried to kill me when I was in Los Angeles. I know they did. I'm going to continue. Anyway, look, that's another 6.1 miles right there. I think it's also important to mention that when I left, it was about 10:30 in the morning when I started walking. It was about 10 o'clock at night to 10:30 at night at this point right here. So I'd already walked 12 hours. 12 hours. Continue. I started walking back, and I walked another 12.6 miles back to downtown Los Angeles, except I had to walk. It wasn't a straight path back because I did walk through a whole bunch of areas. I walked through, this area, that. I walked all over the place. I walked through downtown areas. There's rats running around at nighttime. It's pretty crazy. But this is just the first day that I was there. If you look at it, I walked at least 27.4 miles. I walked more than that. 27.4 miles in one day, all because you will not tell the truth. You keep torturing me with lies. Now I'm going to show you this part. You're not going to like it. This is the areas that I stayed in. And I'm going to show you a little video right after this, right after I finish talking. That's going to show you which are the most dangerous areas in Los Angeles today. Most dangerous areas. These top the list. This tops the list. I was sleeping right here in Chinatown at nighttime, during the daytime, but I walked all night long, all over the place, everywhere. This is one of the most dangerous places too. I was in the 5 most dangerous places in Los Angeles, or 4 of the 5 most dangerous places in Los Angeles, all because, and I was walking at nighttime, all because Carter County knows they broke the law, faked my daughter's death. Everybody in Oklahoma, Texas knows, but instead of telling the truth, you'd rather watch me die in the streets.
Let's see what places to avoid in Los Angeles. Number 10, Watts. When I was young, Watts was considered the worst place in Los Angeles. They had the Watts riots in the 60s, and they always had a serious poverty problem. Number 9, Crenshaw. Crenshaw is a largely residential neighborhood with single-story houses, bungalows, low-rise condominiums, and apartments. There are also some commercial buildings with an industrial corridor along Jefferson Boulevard. Number 8, Park Mesa Heights. When I was young, we called this area Hyde Park. I believe most people from Los Angeles still refer to it as Hyde Park. Number 7, Vermont Square. Most just call it Vermont. Vermont has always been a place to avoid. Number 6, West Adams. West Adams is a small neighborhood in Los Angeles that most people avoid, like an aggressive proctologist with cold hands. It's right next to the Crenshaw neighborhood that we talked about earlier, and this place can get dangerous. Number 5, Leimert Park. Leimert Park was developed in the 1920s as a residential community. It was completely built to those Spanish colonial revival homes, which they still have some left, but not as many. They have these all over Los Angeles. They're still sprinkled around. Number 4, Lincoln Heights. Lincoln Heights is considered to be one of the oldest neighborhoods outside of downtown Los Angeles. This neighborhood dates back to the late 1800s. It sits on a bluff overlooking the Los Angeles River, and it's right near Dodger Stadium. It was also home to the city's most notable residents back in the day. These days, it's home to some of the city's most violent residents. Like I said, it's right by Dodger Stadium, and I would advise getting gas before the game. You don't want to be driving around this neighborhood late at night looking for a gas station. Number 3, South Park. The only thing separating South Park and Vermont is the 110 freeway and over 200 percentage points when it comes to violent crime. In 1903, this was a very popular development. It stayed that way until about the 1950s, and by the 1990s, this was a place you dropped off your car when you didn't want it anymore. Number 2, Little Tokyo. Little Tokyo is right in the downtown Civic Center area of Los Angeles. This is the largest and most populous of the only 3 official Japan towns in the United States, even though we call this one Little Tokyo. The overall violent crime rate in Little Tokyo is 668% higher than the national average. That's pretty harsh. And number 1, Chinatown. In the early 1860s, thousands of Chinese men who had been working to build the railroads landed in cities up and down the West Coast, including Los Angeles. They built their own communities and they became known as Chinatowns. The violent crime rate in Chinatown, Los Angeles is 679% higher than the national average. Yeah, that's why they're number 1. Apparently they're still having all kinds of problems. They've always had problems. What am I talking about?
This event occurred right as I was coming back from Los Angeles. I changed my ticket date to return early. I'd achieved everything I needed to achieve while in Los Angeles. So I came back on July 27th, 2022. Remember, it's 2022. Today is June 6th, 2024. Um, it's a whole 11 months, a year and 11 months later, y'all, you will not tell the truth. You sent me to jail instead of telling the truth. That's how I know I got to continue to make sure God punishes you, because you're just going to continue to lie and think that you're going to get away with your crimes, and you're not. Anyway, I returned from Los Angeles, California on a train. We stopped somewhere, I think in Newton, and that's where we had to get off the train and start riding a bus to Oklahoma City. So somebody picked me up in Newton in a car, and they drove us to Wichita, Kansas. And I'm at the bus terminal in Wichita, Kansas. Everybody knows who I am in Wichita, Kansas. Everybody knows. And this was the day, and then I returned to Ardmore, Oklahoma on bus, and everybody knew who I was on the bus, and in Oklahoma City at the bus terminal. Everybody knows who I am. Nobody wants to tell the truth. Now I have other places here because I've been to this town, Derby, and I've been to this town over here, Ashland. Now Ashland's a crazy story because me and my mother drove up there this last December of 2023. We drove up to Ashland, and I go in there and I bought a Grape Airheads candy, and I used their restroom. But the thing is, 3 people were in the store. All 3 people knew who I was, and there's no possible way anybody in Ashland, Kansas should know who Brett Finnerty is. Nobody should know who I am. Everybody knows who I am. Nobody will help me, and nobody will tell the truth.